Leg protection is extremely important and shouldn't be overlooked. But protective boots aren't going to do you much good if they're not put on correctly. Bob and Monty Crist from Professional's Choice are going to get you pointed in the right direction.
Okay, I'm Bob Avila, and I've got Monty Crist here. He's the general manager of Professional Choice. And we're going to talk about leg protection and how important it is and all the things you can do to mess it up. And I think that between the two of us, between going to horse shows and you going to ropings and stuff, we've probably seen a bunch of really dumb things done.
Oh, absolutely. Every time you go somewhere, you see somebody that put them on incorrectly, or put the left on the right or the right on the left.
Exactly. And you know, I see a lot of people that if they have something that they need small boots on, they've got larges. And all it does is rub sores on horses' legs. And you know, Monty and I were talking on the telephone the other day, and he brought up, and it's something that probably is one of the worst things we do see, is people getting to an event, no matter what kind of event you go to, if it's a trail ride or a horse show or a rodeo or whatever, and they put their boots on first thing in the morning, and they don't take them off until last thing at night. Now you're asking for trouble there, especially in the heat. You know, that's just not a bright thing to do. And I know that I use the taller skid boots for behind, and mainly I use those a lot for the look in the show pen, and I use them for protection because I work cattle and stuff. But you know, there's a lot of different kinds of boots that you can use, and you know, I'm not telling you have to use the kind I use. Just use a quality boot that fits your horse right.
And fit being the key right there. Fit is probably the most critical part of putting the boots on. Like Bob was saying, if you put them on and they're too big, they're going to go up and down. It's just like the boots you have on your feet. You don't buy a size that's 2 sizes too big, right? Because all you're asking for is trouble, or 2 sizes too small, you're asking for trouble. So, you know, just it's comfort. Comfort's very important, along with, you know, the support that they give and the protection.
Yeah, and you know, I mean the look is one thing, but you know, when you get it right down to it, it's the protection of your horse's legs. And you know, if your horse jumps across and doing whatever it's doing, if it's jumping over a log or something and hits himself wrong, it can take months to heal that up. Where, you know, just having a pair of boots on a horse, a little extra protection is a smart thing to do.
It's cheap insurance is what it is.
It's very cheap insurance,
right,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it is.
And technology's come so far these days, you know. The support that not only we put in our boots, but what everybody else puts out there is, right. You know, the quality it's out there everywhere. And
I know that I use the SMB Elites and stuff, and I use them a lot. And you know, they have the suspensory support there, and I like the look of them. They're very contoured towards the horse's leg, and you can look inside of them here and see how they're stitched up here and they're contoured for the leg. And I really like the fit in them. They're very sleek looking.
Right. Well, that's how we designed them, was to fit that horse's leg like an hourglass. You know, to fit more like a second skin. And that's what we've done with the Elites. We've designed them to fit the front leg specifically for the front, or the rear leg specifically for the rear.
Right.
But
and you know, we're going to put these boots on this horse here in a minute and talk about it. But I see so many people take suspensory straps, and they're absolutely worthless the way they put them on. Right. I mean, absolutely worthless.
It's like running with your shoes untied.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, it's like anything else in horse training, and we talk about this on all our DVDs. You know, use your head. Take the time to make the time, you know? I mean, if you take some time and put them on right, they're going to work better for you. Your horse is going to be more comfortable, and everything's going to work better. So.
This is the correct version, or the correct application of the sports medicine boots. Bob, can you show us some ways you've seen the boots put on incorrectly?
Well, I think the biggest way I see them is people just go like this with it, you know, and the boot, it works to support the leg here, but the suspensory strap is useless. I mean, you might as well take it off there if you're just going to wrap it around like that.
Right, and like you're saying, the most critical ligament through here is the suspensory ligament.
Right, right. So it does go down underneath the fetlock and up, and it has support there. You know, we've seen them upside down. You name it, I've seen them that way.
And if you'll notice, we marked the boots with the size, left or right. And that is super, super critical, that you put the correct boot on the correct leg.
Okay, now which is right and which is left? Is it the horse's left?
It's the horse's left.
Right.
So when you're standing behind the horse, it's going to be the legs on the left-hand side.
Because I see so many people standing right where I am and say, put the right boot on.
Absolutely.
That is not the right leg.
That is correct. That is not the right leg. That's the wrong leg.
Exactly,
That's
exactly.
the left leg.
And it sounds simple, but I mean, we see this time after time.
Right.
And you know, if you're going to make the investment, you know, use your head, pay attention to it.
And use the product the way it's designed to be used.
Exactly. You know.
And something else, you know, we talked about what we see, think people doing incorrectly or things like that. It's very important to wash your boots and to keep them clean. You know, there's nothing worse than going somewhere and seeing somebody that's got a pair of boots that are 4 years old and they got 6 inches of mud caked on them because they're not doing anything. People don't wear, you know, you launder your jeans for a reason because they're more comfortable when they're clean and they look nicer. So keeping them clean is also, I think, a very important feature.
Yeah. You know, I know that I hear a lot of people talk about boots getting dirt in them. And you know, personally, if you do what I do, you're going to have boots get some dirt in them.
They're going to get some in them.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you're not doing anything, yeah, you shouldn't expect any dirt. You know, ride them on the lawn. You won't get any dirt in them. But I know that, you know, and I get, like in the new Elites and stuff, I get very little dirt in them. But I still get dirt in them, you know, and you have to clean them out. We take a lot of times, you know, we may have a pair of boots on 4 or 5 different horses a day. And at the end of, you know, during the day, we'll take and clean them out, brush them off and stuff, put them on another set, on another horse. And at the end of the day, we throw them in the washing machine, we wash them, and we set them out at night.
Let them air dry. Right.
By the next day, they're ready to go again.
Right, right.
So
it's super important to do that.
Yeah, exactly. But we're gonna put these boots on this horse and just kind of talk about the fit a little bit. And everybody's kind of got a different way of putting them on, I know. I know, like I'm pretty much a fanatic about having my boots on fairly snug because I think they actually loosen up. Now the suspensory strap, if you notice, I went down underneath and came up. And so it's actually doing something on this horse now.
So what's happening, and horses, you know, the studies that we've done at the major universities have shown that when horses get tired and fatigued, and you know, toward the end of a day of a long event, they get tired. That's when you're going to see more of the suspensory. More of the suspensory injuries. That suspensory strap's going to help pick that horse's fetlock up each time that hoof hits the ground.
And it's support right here, you know. You know, it's got a nice slick look to it, you know, and it is functional. And that's the big thing right there, you know. Absolutely. You know, the back boots, there's been a bunch of different kinds of back boots made. And I know that these go down and they actually cover the coronet band down here, and they kind of come down around their bulbs of their heel. And I know what I do is I have a lot of cow horses and stuff, and we go from side to side on our cow horses. And a lot of times they'll jump across there and take their outside foot, and they'll actually step on their coronet band. And this way, that these boots, they protect that right there. So that's been working out really good for us. You know, we got a nice clean look here. You know, the boots are about the same height all the way around. So, you know, as far as just the look is really good too. And a lot of protection, you know, this horse, they have the padded on the inside of these back boots. They've got the skid plates back there. So you can stop, you know, if the horse jumps across there and accidentally hits himself, it's going to protect him too.
And I know we don't have bell boots on, but I think bell boots are a very important part. Depending, you know, I know not a lot of the cutting horse people, from what I understand, use the bell boots, but you use them pretty much every day.
Cow horses use bell boots all the time. When we go down the fence, our reining horses, a lot of times we won't, but the cow horses, we use bell boots on them almost all the time. And you know, these boots fit this horse, top and bottom. And if you look, there's actually some air in between the two here. Now, I've seen a lot of people will take their boots and they'll be so big that they're rubbing against each other. And there's just friction in there that's just rubbing on the horse's leg.
They've stretched out and they've fallen down. And you said something earlier, that, you know, the boots have a tendency sometimes to stretch out and flex. And you know, it's a rubber product. It's just like anything else. As it gets hotter and warmer, it is going to have more elasticity to it. So I tell anybody that's never used a pair of our boots to put them on, walk their horse around 5 minutes, get off, and then tighten them up again, because if they've never put them on, They're not going to get them on snug enough, and they're going to feel full of dirt, and they're going to cause some, they could cause some rubbing or irritation.
It's a great idea, yeah. And this is probably the cheapest protection you can buy to protect your horse's legs.
Absolutely.
Monty, if you'll throw me that white bell boot there. And I'll show you a little thing that really is not meant to be the way it is. Yes. But I know that we've been doing it for years, huh? Yes. This is a wraparound bell boot. And I take, a lot of times, my horses turn around a lot, and when they turn around, they actually cross their legs over. And a lot of times they'll get hitting their knees together. And if their knees get sore, then they don't want to turn around as well as they would. And what I do is I take a bell boot and I turn them upside down and put them right there on their leg. So when their knee comes across, they've got a padding right here that they can bump against. And it's really, I know they weren't meant to be that way, but boy, they've been a great fix. They work
great for that, absolutely.
And I know that all the different companies make knee boots and stuff, and I've got some that I use too. And for some reason, I keep going back to these.
It's simple.
Yeah, it is simple, And their knee can move inside there and everything, So that's just a little extra right there for you.